Now at 6, turning the page. The new strides New York is making in the COVID battle as more regions are cleared to reopen.
Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
The new fallout for a woman over a viral Central Park confrontation. Mayor de Blasio calling it racism. And celebrating the class of 2020, the in-person graduation ceremony is now cleared for one part of the tri-state. Good evening. I'm Chuck Scarborough.
And I'm Natalie Pasquarella. Thanks for joining us tonight. The COVID tide changing in New York. The new daily number of cases at its lowest level since this pandemic began at 201. That number was just over 3,000 during the peak. The daily death toll also at its lowest at 73 people. Now, this comes the same day as the Mid-Hudson region gets the green light to reopen. Tomorrow, Long Island's cleared to reopen. New York City, though, is still on pause. The city still needs more empty hospital beds and contact tracers. 1,700 are in training right now, and now the state is hyper-focusing resources on New York City zip codes with the highest new infections and hospitalizations. Right now, that is the Bronx and in Queens. News 4's Andrew Siff live in Lower Manhattan tonight with the new reality, Andrew, for the traders on Wall Street.
Right, Natalie, everyone had to wear masks. It was only 25% of the normal amount of workers on the trading floor. And as more of New York goes back to work, the big question is how they're supposed to get there. Essential workers heading to grocery stores and nursing homes have noticed something on the subway lately.
It's a lot cleaner, to my surprise. The train is clean, the bus is clean. It's cleaner than ever before.
That's after weeks of disinfecting and overnight shutdowns and unprecedented homeless outreach. And yet today on Wall Street, the stock exchange floor reopened with traders having been told, don't take the train to work.
What is your official advice for people going back to work, and how safe is it?
We're having this conversation with the state and the MTA right now, because as we anticipate, just phase one is easily hundreds of thousands of more people going to work.
The mayor's advice coming a week or two before the city meets the official state metrics on COVID-19 to allow a reopening of retail and manufacturing. Westchester and Long Island have already gotten the green light.
We're now going to focus on reopening New York City.
I asked the governor if the trains get more crowded, what his advice would be to commuters in an uncomfortable situation. If they're going back to work and there's someone on their train who's not wearing a mask.
I think we should encourage each other to be responsible and to wear it. We have to be careful that that nice and polite stays nice and polite. And people are afraid now, and you can see tempers flare, and you can see the energy goes up. I think that's not helpful.
And the governor told us today he asked the president for another meeting at the White House to talk about infrastructure and funding. Cuomo is headed to Washington for that meeting tomorrow. We're live on Wall Street. Andrew Siff, News 4 New York.
All right, Andrew, thank you. Now, Governor Cuomo plans to talk about what he calls his supercharged reopening plan with the president tomorrow. It focuses on improving infrastructure to help the economy recover. Cuomo wants to fast-track renovation projects at Penn Station and the new terminals at LaGuardia Airport. He'll also talk about a proposal for an AirTrain to LaGuardia, new rail tunnels under the Hudson River, and finishing the 2nd Avenue subway expansion.
Well, for the first time in months, the Brooklyn Diocese opened its doors to the faithful today. Private prayers are now allowed, but your masks have to be worn inside churches and cathedrals. Social distancing rules are being enforced. Baptisms, weddings, and funerals can also begin, but groups are limited to 10 people only. It's the first of a 3-step reopening process for the Brooklyn Diocese. The second step will be resuming daily Mass, and the final step will be celebrating Sunday Mass.
Well, now that the Mid-Hudson region has the green light, a number of businesses in 7 counties in our area can start to reopen. They include construction, manufacturing, and curbside pickup for non-essential retail. News 4's Mark Santia is live in New Rochelle, hit hard with one of the first COVID clusters in the U.S. And Mark, how are things progressing there now?
Well, Chuck, we are standing in the state's first containment area. Today, a very different scene.
Right on my desk in it. She doesn't want to come in. I told her we'll bring it out to her.
No time to lumber. There's a pep in everyone's step here at Pelham Lumber, with Phase 1 allowing construction to start again across Westchester.
It's a big day for us. We've been kind of waiting for this since this all started, once they stopped the construction. Now today's the big day it started up.
What's that you looking for? 43.
Building a solid foundation here in Pelham and across the region over the last 55 years with contractors and do-it-yourself builders. For this father and son team, seeing their family business buzzing again has a special meaning.
It's a big day for everybody. Yeah, everyone's excited for this. It's busy for us. It's great. A lot of the guys have been waiting to get back to work.
All across Westchester, a glimmer of hope is beginning to sparkle.
I pretty much feel like I've been in lockdown for the last 3 months. Minimal business. So today's a really big day.
With curbside retail now allowed, Susan Blake Jewelry in Armonk is back open. And Susan Blake says they have safety protocols in place and they are ready for business.
I have hand sanitizers on all the counters. I have my steam machine on.
It's a small major step to see if, people are comfortable with curbside delivery.
Here in Chappaqua, safety measures are posted and the door is once again open at the popular shop at Dory. Deliveries are going out and merchandise is on the corner. Dory could not be happier to see Phase 1 on the table.
I feel like, weight has been lifted, that Phase 1 is here and we're welcoming it.
If the health metrics continue to improve here in the county, then Westchester will begin Phase 2 2 weeks from today. Now that will open up more retail, financial services, and real estate. We're live in New Rochelle. I'm Mark Santia, News 4 New York.
All right, Mark, thank you. Speaking of reopening, things getting somewhat back to normal in New Jersey. Finally, some good news for graduates. Starting July 6th, schools will be able to hold outdoor graduation ceremonies, but with social distancing, of course. News 4's Brian Thompson live in Old Bridge with what this means for the class of 2020. Brian.
Oh, it means a lot for them. Football fields like this all across the state. This is Lombardi Field, are prime candidates now for this July 6th and after ceremonies. But school systems won't find out until tomorrow exactly what they can do. Until today, this electronic marquee flashing the names of graduating Old Bridge High School seniors was the only physical suggestion acknowledging the educational achievement of some 750 seniors. The ceremonies of past years captured in these photos just a pipe dream in a pandemic.
Nothing beats it like being in person.
Senior Brianna Boone telling me on FaceTime how excited she was to see this tweet from Governor Murphy this morning that there can be some sort of in-person graduation ceremonies.
I think I can speak for everyone in the sense where as long as we have a ceremony, that's what matters.
With still unspecified social distancing and crowd rules, this summer's graduations will look nothing like this. Old Bridge is considering using its football stadium among other options, and with roughly 750 graduating seniors, likely will have several different ceremonies.
We've asked the public, and obviously the class of 2020 and the high school team's been great, just be patient. This is all going to kind of flush out.
But if not like this, any kind of in-person memories are so much more than a Zoom ceremony.
They really want closure and to have that in-person opportunity.
Says Governor Murphy.
Our goal is to ensure that our students are given the send-offs they richly deserve, in which they have been working toward. We want them to celebrate and to be celebrated by their families, friends, and the educators who helped get them there.
Now, there is a lawsuit filed out of Toms River to open up graduations to in-person ceremonies immediately. I talked to the lawyer late this afternoon. He told me that lawsuit, as far as he's concerned, will continue. Live in Old Bridge, Brian Thompson, News 4 New York.